King's Newsbroom, I'm Stephen Compton. First, the headlines. Liberia National Police charges former NSA officer Peter Bonjala with statutory rape, sodomy, and kidnapping furthering influenced investigation. LNP's report says the 16-year-old victim was sexually abused multiple times. Liberian media community mourns foreign veteran journalist and renowned sports commentator Frank Lobo following the confirmation of his demise by family sources. Also coming up in the news, University of Liberia warns of possible disciplinary action against members of the campus-based Student Unification Party over the alleged destruction of the university's properties. However, SOAP termed the warning as illegitimate and poorly coordinated. And away from home, Sudan's military-led government has returned to the country's capital after nearly 3 years of operating from its wartime base in the eastern city of Port Sudan. Taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the bulletin of news. Welcome back. Up next is the bulletin of news with Sam Andrews.
Family sources have confirmed the death of veteran Liberian journalist and sports commentator Frank Lobo, popularly known as Dog Pound. According to the family, Lobo died Saturday, January 10th, after a prolonged period of illness. His death has sent shockwaves across Liberia's social media landscape, where he was widely respected for his professionalism, passion, and distinctive voice. The late Frank Lobo worked at Liberia Broadcasting System and earned a national recognition for what many term as his electrifying commentary during the National County Sports Meet. His unique style, energetic delivery, and deep understanding of the game captivated listeners across the country and turned county meet football matches into memorable national events. Frank Lobo's dedication and exceptional talent brought sports to life on radio, helping to elevate sports broadcasting in Liberia. The fallen Liberian figure contributions to Liberian sports journalism was immense, and his legacy is expected to continue inspiring future generations of media practitioners. The University of Liberia, through its Student Disciplinary Committee, has warned that disciplinary action will be taken against any student found culpable in the alleged violation, vandalism of property at the institution Capitol Hill campus. On Friday, members of the campus-based Student Unification Party reportedly initiated a repainting campaign across sections of the University of Liberia, citing what they described as the Unity Party-led government failure to renovate the state-owned university. However, in a statement issued on Saturday, the University Student Disciplinary Committee accused members of the Student Unification Party of vandalizing the university properties during the repainting exercise. According to a press release, photographs and videos circulating on social media allegedly show students splashing and smearing paint on the walls of several university buildings, including the graduate school and other facilities on the Capitol Hill campus. The committee emphasized or characterized that the alleged action as an intentional destruction of institutional property and a blatant disregard for academic environment. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry has rejected allegations by the National Custom Brokers Association of Liberia that it is delaying the release of import permit declaration by refusing to sign them. The association recently accused Commerce and Industry Minister Madeleine Dagosa of declining to endorse IDP, a situation it claimed was undermining Liberia's business-friendly environment. Speaking in an interview with reporters, the ministry Public Affairs Director Jacob Parley denied the claims, stating that neither the minister nor the ministry has ever refused to sign import permit declaration. According to Jacob Parley, many complaints stem from importers and brokers who have failed to meet required procedures, particularly the acquisition of certification from the Liberia Standards Authority. President Joseph Walker has described the National County Sports Meet as a powerful platform for promoting unity, discipline, and national development in Liberia. In a special statement to the nation Saturday, the Liberian head of state emphasized the vital role of sports in youth development, noting that sports serve as a key pillar in fostering national unity, discipline, and social cohesion. President Walker reaffirmed his government's commitment to supporting sports development across the country, particularly initiatives aimed at nurturing and harnessing the talents of young people. He highlighted the unifying and healing role of sports in society, stating that sporting activities help promote reconciliation and bring together citizens from diverse ethnic, cultural, and social backgrounds. The Center for National Documents and Records has officially launched. It won a 12.6 million five-year strategic plan designed to transform national records management from 2026 to 2030. Speaking at the launching ceremony over the weekend in Monrovia, the entity Director General Nelson Bianan said the strategic plan would serve as a guiding framework for the modernization of the national archives and ensure its programs and activities effectively support the government's agenda for inclusive development. According to Biana, the plan outlines several key priorities, including the modernization of the institution infrastructure, the digitization of national records, the decentralization of archival services, and improvements in custom service delivery. He noted the strategic plan fully aligns with the government's arrest agenda, which requires public institutions to develop comprehensive planning instruments to enhance resource mobilization and efficient implementation of national development programs. Sino County has been named Best Cash Crop Producing County for 2025 at the National Agriculture Fair in Gantaniba County in recognition of its outstanding contribution to Liberia's agriculture sector. The award followed an impressive exhibition by Sino County Agriculture team led by Prosper Sai, which showcased a diverse range of cash crops and agricultural produce. The achievements underscores the county's growing role in national food security and cash crop development. According to reports from the fair, a comprehensive assessment of participating counties exhibits that and production outputs place Sino County as the overall top performer in cash crop production, earning it a national acclaim for excellence in agriculture. The Liberia National Police has arrested and charged Officer Melvin Myers of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency in connection with the death of a civilian during a law enforcement operation in Painesville. According to an LNP statement, Myers has been forwarded to court on charge of manslaughter following an investigation into a ghetto raid conducted by the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency on December 15, 2025. The statement added that during the raid, Myers allegedly assaulted Ellis Grant, a 20-year-old resident of Coppots Farm community, which later led to his death. In another development, the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has distanced itself from a social media post by suspended agent Ayuba Kurman, suggesting that he has been reinstated by the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. Agent Ayuba Kurman, who was suspended recently in connection with Bucky Raw drug saga, wrote on his official Facebook page indicating that he has been reinstated. The governments of Liberia and China have signed a development cooperation agreement valued at approximately 14 million United States dollars aimed at supporting Liberia's development initiatives. Speaking at the signing ceremony at the weekend, Liberia's Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti described the signing of the agreement on development cooperation between the two countries as a historic milestone that will further strengthen the long-standing relationship between the two countries. According to Minister Yanti, the agreement represents a reaffirmation of strong diplomatic ties built on a mutual respect, shared principles, and a common resolve to promote development and prosperity for both peoples. She disclosed that the agreement provides 100 million Chinese yuan, approximately 14 million United States dollars, in development assistance to Liberia. Also remarking at the ceremony, Chinese ambassador to Liberia, Yang Wu, noted that signing of a new development cooperation agreement between China and Liberia was a significant in strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries. And the Civil Law Court has ordered the Ministry of Justice to immediately enforce its Supreme Court mandate in the long-running case involving a disputed 53.34 carat diamond. The ruling was delivered at the weekend during the 17-day jury sitting of December 2025 term, presided over by assigned judge J. Boyman Konto. The matter involves Ibrahim Kamara, holder of Class A mining license, and was brought before the court through a petition for a judicial review seeking enforcement of the Supreme Court's mandate.
I'd like to say many thanks to Sam Andrews for the bulletin of news. It's a regular feature on King's Newsbroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. One of our top developments, Liberia National Police charges former NSA officer Peter Bon Jala with statutory rape, sodomy, and kidnapping following a fluency investigation. LMP's report says the 16-year-old victim was sexually abused multiple times. We are taking a very short break. Come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Let's now take our first development. President Joseph Boakai has described the National County Sports Meet as a powerful platform for promoting unity, discipline, and national development in Liberia. In a special message to the nation on Saturday, the Liberian head of state emphasized the vital role of sports in youth development, noting that sports serve as a key pillar in fostering national unity, discipline, and social cohesion. President Joseph Boakai further reaffirmed his administration's commitment to supporting sports development across the country, particularly initiatives aimed at nurturing talents of young people across the country.
Sport is more than just a competition, which only features the conquest of one over the other. It is a powerful platform for unity, discipline, and national progress. First, the game must be played in the spirit of fair play. Fair play teaches respect for the rules, for opponents, and for ourselves. When the rules are respected on the field, integrity is strengthened, even far beyond the field. This is the Liberia we are building, a nation grounded in honesty and equal opportunity for all. Second, sports must serve a tool for healing, mending, and reconciling. Our nation doesn't endure divisions, but the field, we stand as one family, one people, one Liberia, though momentarily dispersed into our respective sport teams. Sport brings us together across the counties, communities, ethnicity, and backgrounds, reminding us that our shared future is stronger than our past differences. Third, sports is a handy and effective tool in helping to positively redirect our youth. As we confront the specter of illicit drug use, young people, we must find every means that enables them to say no to drugs. Drugs destroy talent, health, and potential. Drugs smash promises into hopelessness. Our young athletes must understand that true success comes from discipline, hard work, and healthy choices, not through shortcuts that ultimately lead to loss and harm. We will invest in sports infrastructure that is accessible, inclusive, and sustainable.
Liberian President Joseph Boyka there speaking. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry has rejected allegations about the National Custom Brokers Association of Liberia that it is delaying the release of import permit declaration by refusing to sign them. The association recently accused Commerce and Industry Minister Mandalin Dako said of declining to endorse RPDS, a situation they claimed was undermining Liberia's business-friendly environment. However, speaking in an interview with reporters, the ministry's public affairs director, Jacob Parley, denied the claims, stating that neither
Jinx,
the minister
88.5.
nor the ministry has ever refused to sign the RPDS.
The first thing is that it is not true. The minister, neither the ministry will delay the signing of RPDs, because when you talk about the ease of doing business in Liberia, the ministry is not prepared to create hurdle to anything that has improvement on the economy and to make the business sector viable. What is happening is that some elements do not want to follow the rules. For example, the certificate of origin has to go through the National Standards Authority. There, they will have to verify to see whether it is okay for you to do or bring in what you want to bring in. When that is done, then the document goes to the ministry for the minister's signature or her designee. So in the absence of following that procedure, you want the minister to bypass, to sign for you. You don't consider that as a delay. It's a policy that people have to follow. We also noticed that during the festive season, there were attempts by some people to flood the market with unwholesome products. For example, rotten frozen products and so forth. So the inspectory division has been on the back of some of these people. The custom brokers that you're making reference to, they are our partners in progress. We always work together. So there is no need for the ministry to try to delay, the work that they do, because when that is done, we are going to be the first that will receive the shock of that negative stuff. Regrettably, we don't do that because we are prepared to smooth things and make the sector to be viable. We equally call on people to follow established rules. No modern business sector operates in an environment where people do not want to follow the rules.
Up to this next development, Center for National Documents and Records has officially launched a US $12.6 million 5-year strategic plan designed to transform the national record management from 2026 to 2030. Speaking at the launching ceremony held over the weekend in Monrovia, the entity's Director General Nelson Bernard said the strategic plan will serve as a guideline framework for the modernization of the National Archive and ensure that its program and activity effectively support the government's arrest agenda for inclusive development.
The crafting of these important documents is one of our greatest achievements because it will be used as a roadmap, decisions and actions in modernizing the CNDRA to a level where it gets on par with other regional and global archival bodies. The 5-year goals outline these developments plans are as follows. Modernizing through digitalizations and digitalizations and improved customer service. Modernization through the collections of oral history from the 15 counties of Liberia. Modernization through capacity buildings and institutional development, modernization through buildings and national library system. Our development plan is cost as 12,653,243.67. One thing that make me very proud in all of this is that did not hire any consultants to prepare our plan. It was prepared by us right in our compound. With that said, R.D. Nelson Bianga, with the power in me vested as Director General of the National Archive of Liberia, hereby declare our 5-year strategic development plan officially launched. We now call on the national governments and partners to lend their support in making 5-year strategic goals outline this development plan achievable.
Nelson Bianga there speaking. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has distanced itself from a social media post by suspended agent Ayubad Kroban, suggesting that he has been reinstated by the entity. Agent Kroban, who was suspended recently in connection to the Bucky Rolls drug saga, wrote on his official social media page, indicating that he was reinstated by the entity. However, speaking with Kings FM Friday, LDEA Public Relations Officer Orlando Deming termed the information as false and misleading.
No, he has not been reinstated. It was on yesterday when Ayuba called me and told me that he had been reinstated by the director and he wanted me to post on the page that he had been reinstated. And please know, if the director reinstates you, he will communicate with me directly, and then I will use that communication to post on the page that you have been reinstated. Then, unfortunately, last night when I went home, I saw on his page that he had posted that he had been reinstated. I said, how can Ayuba say he been reinstated without my consent? Unfortunately, this morning, while on my way to work, I was called by one of the officers. Ayuba had been arrested from the P and was taken to the office, to HQ, where he's currently in jail. I said, why? I said, because he lied that the director had reinstated him, which of course is false and misleading. So myself, when I heard the information, I went into the director office and he told me that it was false and misleading. He had never given any order that Ayuba should be reinstated and he should start work. So that's why we put that statement up that Ayuba intentionally lied on the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency that he had been reinstated. So now we are guarding him. He's currently in the cell of the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency, and we are turning over to the Board of Internal Inquiry Investigation to further probe into his the issue level against him. Because now this is the second time of posting on Facebook. The first time it was in connection with Bucky Road, and now they are now accused the agency falsely. So the board will then investigate the case further. After that, the county now will communicate that on the social media for the public to be aware.
If you are just coming our way, there's a reminder you are listening to the 1 p.m. edition of King's Newsbroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. And top stories we are closely following this afternoon. Liberia National Police charges former NSA officer Peter Bond Jallard with statutory rape, sonnement, and kidnapping, following a fluent investigation. LNP's report says the 16-year-old victim was sexually abused multiple times. Liberian media community mourns fallen veteran journalist and renowned sports commentator Frank Lobo following the confirmation of his demise by family sources. University of Liberia warns of possible disciplinary action against members of the campus-based Student Unification Party over the alleged destruction of the university's properties. However, SUB termed the warning as illegitimate and poorly coordinated in a way from whom Sudan's military-led government has returned to the country's capital after nearly 3 years of operating from its wartime base in the eastern city of Port Sudan. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Now, ahead of our news presentation is our foreign development, but there's development sets that pays. The governments of Liberia and China have signed a development cooperation agreement valued at approximately 14 million United States dollars aimed at supporting Liberia's developmental initiatives. Speaking at the signing ceremony on Friday at the Foreign Ministry, Foreign Minister Sarah Jan.12 described the signing of the agreement development cooperation between the two countries as a historic milestone that will further strengthen the long-standing relationship between the two nations. According to the foreign minister, the agreement represents reaffirmation of the strong diplomatic ties built on mutual respect, shared principle, among other things, between the two countries.
It is an honor to, on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Liberia, to sign this agreement. It is an occasion that's significant because it marks another important chapter in our long-standing partnership. It is a reaffirmation of our relationship, built not merely on agreements, but on enduring principles, true respect, sovereign equality, non-interference, and the shared resolve to pursue development and prosperity for our peoples. This agreement today, which we are privileged to sign, provides gratuitous assistance of 100 billion RMB, which is about 14 billion US dollars, stands as a compelling testament to China's unwavering commitment to Liberia's development aspirations. It reflects the wisdom and foresight of the high-level engagement between your president, President Xi Jinping, and our president, President Joseph Magoya, during the high-level discussions held in Beijing during the Forum on China and Africa Cooperation. It also reflects the work that's been done on the ground between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Finance, and other ministries of government, and the Embassy of the People's Republic of China. We deeply value your development philosophy. We deeply value the philosophy that places people at the center of progress and emphasizes initiatives that are practical, impactful, and results-oriented. Your support to the government of Liberia through your initiatives with the post-military hospital, the Liberia Broadcasting System, your support to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, capacity building, your support to various entities of government is not taken lightly because these are tangible results that can be measured. We wish to assure our Chinese partners that the government of Liberia approaches this cooperation with the utmost sense of responsibility, and we will be working with our other partners in government, including the Ministry of Finance, to look at the priority areas of their REST agenda that require the investments that you're now making today.
Also, remarking at the signing ceremony, Chinese ambassador to Liberia, Yen Chugu, noted that the signing of a new development cooperation agreement between Liberia and China served as a significant milestone in strengthening bilateral relationship between the two countries. He described the agreement as a concrete step towards implementing the consensus reached by the two heads of state during a high-level engagement. Ambassador Yen further noted that the engagement gives practical effort to the icons of the Forum on China and Africa Cooperation Summit and reflects the steady progress being made on the China-Liberia Strategic Partnership.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to attend today's signing ceremony of the agreement on the development of cooperation between the government of the People's Republic of China and the government of the Republic of Liberia. This is another new agreement between our two countries in the field of development and cooperation, following the agreement we signed last March. According to this agreement, China will provide Liberia with 100 million RMB to implement cooperation projects jointly agreed upon by both governments and aligned with Liberia's national development priority. It is my firm belief that signing such an important agreement at the very beginning of the new year will set a positive tone for China-Liberia in the year ahead. The signing of this agreement represents a concrete step in implementing the consensus reached by our two heads of state and the outcome of the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-African Cooperation, as well as in deepening the China-Liberia strategic partnership. In 2024, President Xi Jinping and President Joseph Magoya successfully met in Beijing, elevating bilateral relations to a strategic partnership and opening broader prospects for our cooperation.
And now, away from home, Sudan's military-led government has returned to the country's capital after nearly 3 years of operating from its wartime base in the eastern port of Sudan. Sudan Prime Minister Kamel Adri told reporters on Sunday that the government of hope was officially back in Khartoum and who began efforts to improve services for the city's residents. The military was forced out of the paramilitary rapid forces when civil war erupted between the two sides in 2023. The arm recaptured it in a significant breakthrough last March. Khartoum has been recovering from a year of fighting. Roughly 5 million flee the city at the height of the conflict. That's according to the United Nations. Those unwilling or unable to leave describe a burial RSF occupation, which included mass looting and fighter taking over civilian homes. On Sunday, Adrid said the government who work in improving electricity, water, health, and education in the city. He also declared that 2026 will be a year of peace for Sudan, where at least 150,000 people have died since the war erupted. The United Nations has described the situation as the world's worst humanitarian crisis, and around 12 million people have been forced from their homes. On this note, this is how we go home on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, reminder of top stories, we close the photo. Liberia National Police charges former NSA officer Peter Bonjala with statutory rape, sodomy, and kidnapping following a fluent investigation. LMP's report says the 16-year-old victim was sexually abused multiple times. Liberian media community mourns fallen veteran journalist and renowned sports commentator Frank Lobo following the confirmation of his demise by family sources. University of Liberia warns of possible disciplinary action against members of the campus-based Student Unification Party over the alleged destruction of the university's properties. However, SUB termed the warning as illegitimate and poorly coordinated. In a way from whom Sudan's military-led government has returned to the country's capital after nearly 3 years of operating from its wartime base in the eastern city of Port Sudan. I want to say many thanks to our reporters and editors for making today's news presentation a success. Sam Andrews was here with the news bulletin, and Janet Persima Sara control and ably coordinated the sound. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.